Have you noticed your strength fading, your sleep getting lighter, and your drive not responding the way it used to? Many men over 60 tell me they feel off, but assume it's just aging. I'm Dr. Rachel Ross, a board-certified urologist, and I've helped thousands of men restore natural hormone balance. What surprises most of them isn't a pill. It's something happening at night that they've been unknowingly disrupting. Tell me where you're watching from and consider subscribing. Let's talk about what's really happening after dark. But here's what most people don't realize. Your body does not produce testosterone evenly throughout the day. It doesn't rise just because you lifted weights in the afternoon. It doesn't increase simply because you ate more protein at dinner. Testosterone follows a rhythm, a very specific rhythm. And if you miss that rhythm, everything begins to feel slightly off. Your energy, your muscle tone, your mood, even your confidence in the morning. Let me start with something simple. Testosterone is not built in the gym. It is not built in the kitchen. It is built at night. More specifically, it is built during deep sleep. When you close your eyes and drift off, your body doesn't just turn off. It shifts into stages. First light sleep, then deeper, then REM. But the most powerful stage for hormone production is deep sleep, what we call slow wave sleep. This is the stage where your brain becomes quiet, your breathing slows, and your body goes into repair mode, and this is where the real work happens. During deep sleep, a signal starts in a small area of your brain called the hypothalamus. That signal travels to the pituitary gland. The pituitary releases something called luteinizing hormone, and that hormone travels down to your testicles with one clear message: produce testosterone. Now that signal is strongest during the first 3 to 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Not 8 hours later, not during a nap, during that first deep stretch of the night. If that window is broken, testosterone production drops. It doesn't pause politely and wait. It simply declines. And this is what I see in my clinic every single week. Men over 60 are not getting consistent deep sleep. They wake up to urinate at 1:30 a.m. They fall asleep in front of the television. They go to bed past midnight because they don't feel tired. They scroll on their phones in the dark. Every interruption shortens those deep sleep cycles. And after 50, your body becomes far more sensitive to those disruptions. A 30-year-old man might lose a few hours and bounce back. A 65-year-old man often cannot. Even 1 week of shortened or fragmented sleep can lower testosterone levels by 10 to 15%. That's not aging, that's physiology. But here's where most men get it wrong. They chase daytime fixes, they buy supplements, they push harder. At the gym, they drink protein shakes, they research testosterone boosters, and they completely ignore the biological factory that operates quietly in the dark. Testosterone is a nighttime hormone. It naturally peaks between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. That is your hormone window. That is when your body is designed to surge. If you are awake during that window or stuck in light sleep because the TV is still on or your phone just lit up, you are missing the surge your body worked all day to prepare for. And this is why some men wake up feeling flat, not sick, not exhausted, just diminished. Morning firmness isn't what it used to be. Motivation feels slightly lower, that sharp internal drive feels softer. And the assumption is almost always the same: I'm just getting older. But aging does not eliminate hormone production. Disrupted sleep does. Your body still knows how to produce testosterone. The machinery is still there, the signaling system still works, but it requires the right conditions and especially the right timing. Now, here's what most doctors never explain. It's not just about how many hours you sleep. It's about what your body temperature is doing before bed, what light your eyes are exposed to in the evening, what stress hormones are circulating in your bloodstream during those final 90 minutes. Because if those signals are wrong, your deep sleep window shrinks and your testosterone pulse weakens before it even begins. And that brings us to the part most men completely overlook: the subtle nighttime triggers that either open that hormone window or quietly close it. But here's what most people don't realize. Your brain is watching your body temperature every single night, and it uses that temperature as a signal that tells it when to release sleep hormones, a signal that tells it when to enter deep repair mode, and a signal that quietly determines whether your testosterone surge will be strong or barely noticeable. This is the simple nighttime action that helps trigger deep sleep naturally. It sounds almost too basic, but it works because of how your brain controls hormones. The trick is this: lower your core body temperature before bed. That's it. Your brain requires a small drop in core temperature, about 1 to 2 degrees Fahrenheit, to initiate deep sleep. That drop is not random. It's built into your circadian rhythm. As evening approaches, your body is supposed to cool down gradually. That cooling is what allows you to move from light sleep into slow wave sleep, the stage where testosterone production is strongest. If your body stays too warm, you remain in lighter sleep, and lighter sleep does not produce strong testosterone pulses. Now, let me explain why this matters. Deep sleep and testosterone production are biologically linked. When your core temperature falls, your hypothalamus sends stronger signals to your pituitary gland. The pituitary releases luteinizing hormone. That hormone stimulates your testicles to produce testosterone. If the temperature drop is delayed or blunted, your brain delays slow-wave sleep. That shortens your hormone window. And remember, that window is already narrower after 60. So, how do you lower core temperature naturally? There are 3 powerful ways. The first is a warm shower 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Now, this sounds backward. Warm water should heat you up, right? But here's what actually happens. When you step into warm water, your skin blood vessels dilate. Blood moves closer to the surface of your body. When you step out of the shower, that heat escapes rapidly into the air. Your body cools down faster than it would on its own. This is called a rebound cooling effect, and that rebound cooling mimics your natural nighttime signal. The biological benefit is clear: faster. Entry into deep sleep leads to a stronger luteinizing hormone pulse, which leads to increased testosterone production. But timing is everything. If you shower 60 to 90 minutes before bed, your body has time to cool. Your brain receives the signal. Deep sleep begins sooner. If you shower immediately before lying down, you may still be warm. Your heart rate may be slightly elevated. Instead of deep sleep, you get lighter, fragmented sleep. And this is where most men get it wrong. They mistime it. They say, "I tried that. It didn't help." But they stepped out of the shower and went straight to bed. The biology never had time to work. The second method is keeping your bedroom temperature between 60 and 67 degrees F. Why does this matter? A cooler room helps maintain deep sleep cycles. When the room is too warm, your body struggles to release excess heat. You shift into lighter stages. You toss. You wake up more easily. Your deep sleep shortens. And when deep sleep shortens, your testosterone surge between 1 Gauss AM and 4 AM weakens. Men over 60 often tell me they keep the room warmer because they feel colder at night. That makes sense. Circulation changes with age. Body fat distribution changes. But overheating the room disrupts hormone rhythm. The solution isn't turning the thermostat up. It's layering blankets while keeping the air cool. Let the room stay in that 60 to 67 degree range. Use breathable sheets, use socks if needed, keep the air cool so your brain maintains deep sleep longer. Now, here's what most doctors never explain. Temperature affects melatonin, and melatonin affects testosterone signaling. Melatonin is released when your body cools and the lights dim. If your temperature stays elevated, melatonin release can weaken. And when melatonin weakens, the timing of your testosterone pulse becomes less precise. This is not about comfort alone. It's about hormonal synchronization. And once you understand that your body temperature is a trigger, not just a sensation, you begin to see how small adjustments create real biological shifts. But even if your temperature is perfect, there's another nighttime factor that can completely shut down melatonin before it even starts. And that's where most men unknowingly sabotage themselves. But here's what most people don't realize. You can shower at the perfect time, cool your bedroom to the ideal temperature, and still block your testosterone surge simply by flipping on the wrong light. This is the mistake I see over and over again in men over 60. They do many things right, but one small habit quietly shuts down the entire hormone cascade before it even begins. The item we need to name clearly is this blue light exposure at night. Blue light suppresses melatonin, and melatonin is not just a sleep hormone, it is a timing hormone. It tells your brain when nighttime has officially begun. It coordinates the sequence that leads to deep sleep. And deep sleep is when testosterone production peaks, when you stare at your phone, your tablet, or bright LED lighting after 900 p.m., your brain interprets that light as daylight. It doesn't matter if you feel tired. It doesn't matter if the room is quiet. The light hitting your eyes sends a powerful biological message. Stay awake. Melatonin drops. When melatonin drops, deep sleep is delayed. When deep sleep is delayed, testosterone production shortens. It's that simple. Now, here's what I hear constantly in my office. Doctor, I fall asleep fine in front of the TV. And I believe them, but they are not entering restorative deep sleep. They are drifting into light sleep. Their brain remains partially stimulated. Their hormone pulse never fully strengthens. Then they wake up feeling unrefreshed, not exhausted, just not restored. The biological mechanism behind this is precise. Inside your retina are special light-sensitive cells. These cells respond strongly to blue wavelengths, the type of light emitted by smartphones, tablets, laptops, and modern LED bulbs. When blue light hits those receptors, they send a signal to a small structure deep in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This structure is your master clock. It regulates circadian rhythm, the timing of sleep, wakefulness, and hormone release. When that clock receives blue light at night, it suppresses melatonin production in the pineal gland. Without melatonin rising properly, your brain delays slow-wave sleep. And without slow-wave sleep, your pituitary gland does not send strong luteinizing hormone pulses. And without strong luteinizing hormone pulses, testosterone output weakens. This isn't theoretical, it's measurable. And here's the part that makes this even more important for you. After 60, melatonin production naturally declines. Your body already produces less of it than it did at 30 or 40. That means nighttime light has a stronger disruptive effect. The margin for error becomes smaller. What didn't affect you at 45 can absolutely affect you at 65. So the solution is simple, but it must be specific. No overhead LED lighting after 900 p.m. Use dim lamps instead. Warm, soft lighting, the kind that feels calmer, not stimulating. No phone scrolling in bed, not just 5 minutes, not one last email. The closer that screen is to your eyes, the stronger the signal to your brain that it's daytime. If you need light for safety at night, use amber night lights. These emit minimal blue wavelength and interfere far less with melatonin. You don't need darkness at 700 p.m. You don't need to live by candlelight. But after 900 p.m., your environment should signal night, not productivity. And here's something important. Many men think the problem is falling asleep. It's not. The problem is entering deep sleep quickly and staying there long enough for your hormone pulse to peak between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. Light delays that transition. Now, imagine this scenario. You cool your body properly. You take your shower at the right time. Your bedroom temperature is ideal, but you lie in bed watching bright television or checking your phone under white LED light. Your brain remains in daytime mode. Your hormone window shrinks before it even opens. But even if you fix your temperature, even if you eliminate blue light, there's one more powerful disruptor that can override everything. And this one doesn't come from your environment. It comes from inside your mind. And that's where stress hormones enter the picture. But here's what most people don't realize. Even if you cool your body perfectly and eliminate blue light completely, one single hormone can still sabotage your testosterone surge. That hormone is cortisol. And the item we need to name clearly here is late night stress activation. Cortisol and testosterone compete. They are designed to move in opposite directions. Cortisol is your stress hormone. It rises in the morning to wake you up. It helps you respond to challenges. It keeps you alert. But at night, cortisol should fall to its lowest level. That drop allows melatonin to rise. It allows deep sleep to begin. It allows testosterone to surge. When cortisol stays elevated at night, testosterone signaling weakens. And here's what happens more often than most men realize. You check one last email before bed. You watch intense news coverage. You scroll through financial updates. You replay a difficult conversation in your mind. You lie in the dark, thinking about your health, your family, your responsibilities. You may feel physically still, but internally, your stress response activates. Cortisol rises. When cortisol rises, testosterone signaling drops. The biological mechanism is direct and measurable. High Cortisol suppresses gonadotropin-releasing hormone in the hypothalamus that reduces luteinizing hormone release from the pituitary gland. And when luteinizing hormone drops, testosterone production in the testes declines. This is not emotional theory. This is endocrine physiology. Your body runs on chemical signals, and those signals compete for priority. Now, here's what most men never fully realize. Mental stress feels normal. It feels like thinking, planning, processing, being responsible, but biologically, it is a hormone event. When you imagine a stressful scenario, your brain activates the same pathways it would use if you were facing a physical threat. Your heart rate can subtly increase, your muscles can tighten slightly, and cortisol begins to circulate. Your body does not know the difference between a tiger in the room and a troubling thought in your mind. It responds the same way. Men over 60 often lie awake replaying conversations from earlier in the day. They think about retirement finances. They think about health appointments. They think about their children or grandchildren. The mind stays active even when the lights are off. If cortisol remains elevated past midnight, testosterone cannot peak properly between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. That hormone window we discussed earlier, it depends on cortisol being low. If cortisol is high, your brain prioritizes alertness over repair, and testosterone production becomes secondary. This is why some men wake up after what seemed like a full night in bed, yet feel tense, edgy, not fully restored. It's not always about how long you slept, it's about the hormonal environment you created before sleep. Now, here's the reassuring part. The fix is not complicated. You don't need meditation retreats. You don't need complex breathing protocols. You need a shutdown ritual, a clear psychological boundary between daytime problem-solving and nighttime recovery. No problem-solving after 8:30 p.m. That doesn't mean you ignore responsibilities. It means you schedule them earlier. Write tomorrow's to-do list before bed. Get the thoughts out of your head and onto paper. When your brain knows the plan is recorded, it relaxes its grip. Shift into low stimulation activities. Reading something calm, listening to soft music, light stretching, quiet conversation. These activities signal safety to your nervous system. They lower sympathetic activation. They reduce cortisol gradually. Lower stress leads to lower cortisol. Lower cortisol allows stronger luteinizing hormone pulses. Stronger luteinizing hormone pulses support stronger nighttime testosterone production. And once you understand this, you begin to see how protecting your evenings becomes just as important as protecting your mornings. But even if you manage temperature, even if you control light, even if you lower stress, there is one final piece most men overlook. And without this piece, the entire system struggles to synchronize. It comes down to rhythm. And that's where timing consistency changes everything. But here's what most people don't realize. You can do everything right one night and still see very little change if you don't do it again the next night. Hormones don't just respond to effort, they respond to rhythm. This is where the final multiplier comes in. The item we need to name clearly is the fixed sleep schedule. Testosterone follows a circadian rhythm. That means it rises and falls according to an internal clock. And that clock does not like chaos. It does not adapt well to randomness. It thrives on predictability. Your body loves routine. When you go to sleep at different times every night, 10 p.m. one night, midnight the next, 11:30 after that, your hormone clock shifts. The timing of melatonin release drifts. The timing of deep sleep drifts. And when deep sleep drifts, the testosterone surge weakens. Biologically, this is controlled by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your master circadian clock. It sits deep in your brain and coordinates hormone pulses based on patterns of light exposure and sleep timing. When your schedule is steady, this clock synchronizes your melatonin rise, your cortisol drop, and your testosterone surge with precision. When your schedule is irregular, that clock becomes confused. And after 60, your circadian rhythm becomes more fragile. At 30, you could stay up late on a Friday, sleep in Saturday, and recover by Monday. At 65, even a 1 to 2 hour variation can noticeably reduce morning testosterone levels. The system simply doesn't rebound as easily. I tell my patients something very direct. Pick a bedtime. Protect it like medication. You wouldn't take your blood pressure pill at 8:00 p.m. one night and 1:01 a.m. the next. You wouldn't randomly skip doses and expect stability. Sleep timing works the same way for hormones. Go to bed within 30 minutes of the same time every night. Not perfectly, but consistently. Wake up at the same time, even on weekends. Yes, even on weekends. Because consistency strengthens melatonin timing. Melatonin strengthens deep sleep, and deep sleep strengthens testosterone. This chain reaction depends on repetition. When you sleep at the same time nightly, your brain begins preparing in advance. Melatonin rises predictably. Core body temperature drops on schedule. Cortisol falls earlier. By the time you lie down, your body is already aligned for deep sleep. But when you vary your schedule constantly, that preparation never stabilizes. You may still fall asleep. You may still log hours in bed. But the hormone timing shifts slightly each night, and those small shifts accumulate. And here's where most men get it wrong. They think more sleep equals better hormones. So, they stay up late during the week and try to catch up on the weekend. They sleep in 2 extra hours and assume they've repaired the damage. But irregular long sleep does not fix disrupted rhythm. Regular rhythm does. It's not about maximizing hours occasionally, it's about stabilizing timing daily. Now imagine combining everything we've discussed. You lower your core temperature properly. You eliminate blue light after 900 p.m. You reduce late night stress activation. And you protect a fixed sleep schedule. What you've created is not just better sleep. You've created a synchronized hormone environment. Your cortisol drops on time. Your melatonin rises on time. Your deep sleep begins earlier. Your luteinizing hormone pulse strengthens. Your testosterone peaks between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. as designed. And over weeks, not just days, that consistency compounds. Morning energy improves, mood stabilizes, muscle recovery feels easier. Morning firmness becomes more reliable. Not because you forced your hormones, but because you stopped disrupting their rhythm. Now, let's bring this together. Because when you understand that testosterone is not just about age, but about timing, signals, and consistency, you begin to see that your body is not failing you. It's waiting for stability. And once you give it that stability, the changes can be far more noticeable than most men expect. But let's come back to where we started. That quiet feeling of being off, strength fading a little faster than it should, sleep becoming lighter, more fragile, drive not responding the same way it once did. And the easy conclusion so many men reach is this is just aging. But what I've shown you tonight is something different. Your body still knows how to produce testosterone. The machinery did not disappear at 60. The signaling pathways are still there. The brain still communicates with the testes. The hormone window still exists. It simply needs the right nighttime environment, a slight drop in core temperature, darkness at the right time, lower cortisol before bed, a consistent rhythm your brain can trust. These are not extreme interventions. They are not complicated protocols. They are signals. And your brain is a signal processor. When it receives the right signals, it responds. I have seen men in their late 60s and even 70s improve morning energy, regain muscle tone, and feel mentally sharper. Not because they force their hormones with aggressive measures, but because they stop blocking them night after night. This is about restoring dignity quietly. You are not broken. Your system is responsive. And when you respect that nighttime hormone window, your body often begins to respond in ways that genuinely surprise you. That sense of feeling off is not always permanent. Sometimes it's simply interrupted biology. And interrupted biology can be corrected. If this conversation helped you see what's really happening inside your body at night, I invite you to subscribe. Not for noise or hype, but for steady, honest guidance grounded in real physiology. This space is for men over 50 who want clear answers about testosterone, sleep, performance, and long-term strength without embarrassment or gimmicks. You're not the only one who has felt that quiet shift in energy or drive. Thousands of men are rebuilding their confidence simply by understanding their biology instead of fighting against it. And that shift begins with awareness. Tell me where you're watching from. I read those comments, and it reminds me how many men are on this journey together. In the next video, I'm going to break down one common healthy nighttime habit that may actually lower testosterone in men over 60, and almost no one is warning you about it. Until then, protect your nights.